episode of Streets to Success with Frank, Jalil. We got Rick in the building. Rick, how you doing?
Y'all?
Rick in the building.
What it do?
How you doing?
I'm good, man. I can't complain. Blessed. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you here. Lil speaks very highly of you, just so you know.
That's a good thing. That's a
Yep.
good thing. Appreciate it, brother.
You already know, bro. Right. So typically we start off from where were you at in life to where you at now. Just tell the people like where you from and what part of the city. If you from Philly, if you from Philly, like let people know where you from and stuff like that.
7th Street, South Philly, man.
7th Street.
Definitely from Philly. 7th Street.
Born and raised.
Born and raised. Bred in, not born in, not sworn in.
Yeah. Siblings. Any siblings, brothers, sisters?
You know, I got a sister that I lost to lupus. You know, a few years
Sorry to hear
back.
that, bro.
You know, other than that, I'm a lone ranger. You know what I mean? Just me and my mom at this point, me, my mom, and my dad. But I got 10 kids, so that makes up for everything.
Yeah.
I got a whole army of them.
Yeah, no doubt. So, how was it growing up on 7th Street, coming up?
Hey, man, you know, 7th Street is the land of the hustlers, man. I'll be honest with you. 7th Street is the land of the hustlers.
7th and what?
7th Snyder, 7th for McKean, 7th Emily.
Okay.
Back when I was coming up, it was all about 7th and Mercy.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know.
And it's changing over there too now.
Yeah, gentrification is everywhere, but, you know, they're there. You know, we're a little combined now. You know, they got half 7th Street's combined with, you know, the Cambodians. Is, you know, you got the guys down there. They, like, collaborate. There's a melting pot down 7th Street. You got a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing you're going to always have is a bunch of hustlers coming out 7th Street.
Yeah.
So what school did you go to?
Well, I started at, like, Abigail Vare. There's now 3rd and Monumental, but it's now apartment complexes. You know what I mean? It's condominium apartments. You know, I went from that stage, from that being down 7th Street, like I said. From there, I went to South Philadelphia High, Southern. I got kicked out of there after my 9th grade year, and went to Furnace.
Okay.
Got kicked out of there.
Wait, what do you get kicked out for?
He sound like me.
I can't even get it
Yeah,
out.
then I
What
went
do
to
you keep
Furnace.
getting kicked out for?
Hey, I ain't never said I was the best of kid. Man. I said, like,
He's like, I got kicked out of there. I got kicked out of there.
I had my situations, you know.
Yeah.
So I think I got kicked out of Southern for hitting one of my science teachers with a 9-volt battery. And, I got kicked out of Furnace for fighting the NTA.
Damn.
With the Ben Franklin. Got kicked out of there because they raided one of my homies' locker and they found some things that wasn't supposed to be in there. And after that, I think I bing pong back, and then I was at Holmesburg.
Holmesburg, that's where you ended
then
up.
State Road.
I finished my high school career at Holmesburg on State Road. Well, it wasn't even State Road then. That was Torresdale Avenue. You know what I mean? So that's where I finished everything up at. Took a turn from Holmesburg. I went up to the state penitentiary as a juvenile. And,
So you did state time as a juvenile.
Yeah, I started my state time as a juvenile. I did a lot as an adult too, but I started my state time as a juvenile for sure.
How old?
17.
Dang.
Turning 18. I got locked up for started off with high-speed chase, robbery, drug case, turned into a cop shooting, and things just went left, and found myself upstate at an early age.
Dang. So basically, like you could say at an early age, you started to get in the streets. What you think influenced you to get in the streets at such a young age?
I mean, generational curse, man. Like I said, where I came from, like 7th Street was, you know, it was a melting pot. Now it's a melting pot of nationalities, but back then it was a melting pot of hustlers. So at the end of the day, it was very tempting. You know what I mean? I'm going to say that it was very tempting. The lights was out. I mean, the lights was always on. It was always, you know, big-time dice games, big-time drugs being sold, fancy cars
Now,
flying around everywhere.
Do you think you had to go to the streets? Do you feel like you had to, or you feel like you were more influenced to?
I definitely didn't have to go to the streets.
Yeah.
You know, my folks took very good care of me. You know what I mean? It was a decision that I made. You know, sometimes our best decision puts us in the worst situations. So I made the decision that I wanted to, you know, get it on my own.
Yeah.
I wanted to get it how it lives. You know what I mean? Once I got introduced to drugs, selling drugs during the crack era. You know, it was booming back then. So I seen a lot of money being made, and I figured, like, you know, I want to get my own dollars. You know, my uncle, my grandparents, you know, my family, they took very good care of me, you know what I mean? But it came to a point where as though I wanted to, you know, do what I needed to do. You know what I mean? I wanted to be my own leader.
Okay. Was it because you felt as though you wanted to help your parents and stuff out too?
Well, back then, my dad was in prison. You know, my mom was on drugs back then. You know, like I said, I grew up at my grandparents' house, me and my sister, and they were always,
Everybody's phone's
Man,
going off.
both our phones ring.
oh God, like every.
You jumped in the streets because your father, you said, was sentenced to prison upstate.
No, my dad was already in prison.
Oh, he was
before
already-
before
okay.
That. Yeah, my dad was in prison before that. I got in the streets because I wanted to get in the streets.
Okay.
I can't honestly say that I wasn't one of those kids that had to do what he had to do. I had the things that I needed, you know what I mean? I just wanted more.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be control of my own destiny. So, you know, as I said, like I doing that crack ever was a lot of money coming floating through the streets. You know, and at that point I felt like I just wanted my parts.
Yeah.
So I got into the game, you know, got to doing what I was doing, you know, and at the end of the day, I hate to say it, but sometimes some of your best situations put you in your worst situations.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of was good at when, you know, like I said, I'm Muslim, so I say, oh, you believe what you think is good may really be bad, what you think is bad may really be good. So I thought because I was like making a lot of money, you know what I mean, doing my thing, that, you know, I was in my best situation
Yeah.
until I finally got booked. You know what I mean? I got booked several times as a juvenile. You know, I went up, I think my first time getting locked up was a drug case. Then, you know, anything associated with drugs, when you know, guns come with that. Caught a few shootings after that, you know what I mean? Did another gun case, then stuff got a little bit crazier, you know what I mean? And in and outside the revolving door of the juvenile justice system eventually elevated me up to where as though I was sentenced as a juvenile to go serve adult time.
Yeah. What time did you start getting locked up?
I went upstate and let me see, I went upstate in 95, went to the Bird in 93, 94, I think like 91, 92.
And how old were you?
Dang.
Yeah.
I was born in 90.
You was born in 90. Don't do me like that. It's bad work. Yeah, man. Like,
So
you
how
know,
old were you? Like 13?
No,
12?
when I first started getting booked, I think I was like, I started getting booked at like 15.
15?
And it was like rapid after that. Like
Every year.
the cops had the eye every month. Then at one point, like the cops had the eye on me after that.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I got no one speed. Like I'm all in, I'm all out. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So when I go, you know what I mean, I'm there. Like I was a staple of that corner. You crossed by 7th Street, you was gonna see me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some stuff kicked, you gonna see me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was just that type of guy. So that's what put me in those bad situations a lot of time. And I was one of the guys that in the neighborhood, you knew like, you're gonna see him for a while, then you ain't gonna see him for a while. You know, because I always was getting booked. And as a juvenile, you know, you don't have those options of paying bail.
Yeah.
You know, so once I got booked, it was like I was booked, then, you know, you get certain charges, you don't get no bills either. So it was like I was booked, then I was booked. Then when I came home, it was like, you know, I really ain't learned my lesson. Even though when I was upstate, I went to Penn State. You know what I mean? I got my high school diploma and all that while I was still in Holmesburg because I was in 12th grade when I got booked. So when I went upstate and I went to SCI Rockview, they had a college program. So I never was a dumb dude. Like I said, I have good upbringing. I can never blame my circumstance or my situation on my upbringing because that wasn't the case with me.
Yeah.
So once I went upstate, I started doing Penn State, you know what I mean? I had like a 3.3 GPA, you know what I mean? Doing my thing, but if nothing changes, nothing changes. Like Allah's not gonna change the condition of people to change the condition of himself. And it's all about mental conditioning. Like my cognitive thinking, the way I was thinking. My way of thinking was, you know, I'm gonna get smarter for the streets. You know what I mean? I'm gonna use this as a weapon.
Yeah.
This college education, so I'm gonna be street smart and scholastic smart. I'm gonna use it as a weapon against the streets. You know what I mean? So what I was doing was I went home and I was honestly saying I was one of those guys like, I could do another 6.5 on my head.
Yeah.
Like I knocked that out. Like, come on, let's run it. So I went home with the mentality of I was gonna give me some money. I will never say that I went home saying I'm gonna give me a job, I'm gonna settle down. Nah, I was going outside to get some more money.
After 6.5 years?
After 6.5 years, I still wanted to go get some more money. You see what I'm saying? Because I was doing the same thing that I was doing on the streets while I was in jail. That's why I said nothing changes, nothing changes. If you ain't changing your whole way of thinking, and you know your brain is connected to your limbs, so at the end of the day, if you're not moving different, you're not gonna do different.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I wasn't moving different. My thing was, you know, I was in jail doing the same thing I was on the street. So once I came to the streets, nothing was like if you go to jail and you get high, chances are you come back with a dirty urine. Because you're going to get high on the street too. Why would you got a limited amount of drugs in there and you still spending everything you got to smoke a tenth of what you can really smoke when you get on the streets, or do a line of something that you can really do when you go on the streets?
In abundance.
In abundance.
Yeah.
So you're going to enhance when you go to the streets. So me, I'm gambling, I'm hustling, I'm doing everything that I was doing on the streets in jail. So when I came home, it's just like, okay, now it's time to turn it up a notch.
Yeah.
So all my friends and all my homies, you know what I mean, all my associates, they was getting to $1. So I came home to the glitz and the glamour, and I'm like,
You gotta
I need
catch
my
up.
parts.
Yeah.
Like, catch me up. Like, you know what I mean?
So you went up when you were 17,
And I came home when I was 23.
and now you go up there a child, you come home with a man,
I wasn't a man yet.
But-
I came home, I was legal.
an adult,
I
a
came
legal
home as an
adult.
adult. I was
Yeah.
an old-ass young boy.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because I still had that young mentality.
Yeah.
No, real
You
right.
know what I mean? I still haven't matured yet. You know, when you're maturing, I believe it comes in 3 different levels. Like, it's called moral development. You always gonna have your pre-conventional stage of moral development. That's when you basically learning what's going on inside your house.
Yeah.
Then you got the conventional stage when you get to go out on the streets and you see what's what. But the last stage is the post-conventional stage where you got to balance that shit out from what's good from what I learned in the crib and what's good from what I learned on the streets. And and nobody knows what age that is that you reach that level.
Yeah.
Me personally, I didn't get to that level until like my 30s.
It's like the light bulb that goes off, basically.
It's like a light bulb goes off. Like a junkie don't just walk around and say tomorrow I'm just gonna start. They don't smoke some crack and say tomorrow I'm gonna stop getting high. It just happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So you come home, try to get us some bread. You get caught back up, I'm sure.
Of course, couple times.
How long
My first
did it
time I
take?
came on the first time, 98 days.
98 days.
98
Hey, they're
days.
doing
I
6 and a
came
half.
over
First
3
time,
months?
shut the basketball league down, grabbed me some work. Like I was in the way. Like I came. It's 3 types of things you're gonna do. You either gonna get out the way, be in the way, be stuck around the way. Like I was stuck around the way, in the way, and they got me out the way. You see what I'm saying?
All
Like
3.
they went and told them folks on me. You know, they raided the halfway house.
So you were
came
on-
in there with
on
all types of
parole.
rifles. Yeah, I was on parole. I was in the halfway house.
Yeah.
They ran down I was on Germantown Lehigh. They ran down on me in the halfway house, searched the joint, came in and grabbed a bunch of money, and out there they was looking for guns, they was looking for car keys, and people saying everything that I was doing, and took me straight back upstate. I was only home 98 days.
Dang.
98 days, and I was booked.
So what happened after that?
I think I came back and I did about
You took a
8
deal?
months, 8 and a
Or you
half
fought
months.
it?
Huh?
You fought it?
Yeah, I fought it. It was. I didn't have a criminal charge at that point. I just had allegations.
Okay.
And
Somebody
what
just called your PO, bro.
Somebody called my PO, said I was running around doing X, Y, and Z. You know, they came in.
So it's like an indirect violation or something, right?
No, it was a technical.
Technical.
Because they tried to say that I was selling drugs. Then they said that they said they seen it in my urine. They said they got a trace of cocaine base in my urine. So when I was upstate, I was saying, all these dudes coming back talking about something they was bagging up. These dudes must be getting high.
Yeah.
But come to find out, I had got stabbed like 2 days before, day before they took my last urine. And you know, Novocaine, but I learned down the line after I became a drug and alcohol treatment specialist, educate myself in jail, that's a cane base. So it's gonna give you a positive cocaine urine from the Novocaine. Like poppy seeds, it's a lot of different.
Yeah, I know
Heroin,
poppy
yeah.
It's
seeds.
a lot of different families of different stuff that can give you a false positive. But me, I didn't, I'm like, in my mind, I knew I was doing something dirty trying to call it clean anyway. I knew I was out there. I'm like, damn, shit, I must have been sweating when I was bagging the shit. Because I was doing it.
Yeah.
So it's like, damn, they got me. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to take a deal. They had a program, I think, back then called RSAT. And you do 6 months inside, 6 months in a halfway house, and then 6 months intensive probation and parole. So I did the RSAT. They let me out. I did that. They let me out. I was home again for about probably a little under a year. Again, and caught up again. You know what I mean? I got caught up again.
That's
Messing around
crazy
with the
because if you meet you now, you wouldn't think that you've been through all that stuff. You feel me?
Listen,
That's crazy.
What you
life
got caught
was
up with?
crazy. I got caught up this time hustling. So, boy owed me some bread. He was clocking me, knowing I had to be in a halfway house at a certain time. But when you're in the streets and you know what I mean, you get into a couple of hours and I hate to say it, you know what I mean? I ain't trying to throw none of these halfway house people under the bus, but if you got a couple of hours, you can do what you want.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
you know, I'm moving the way I need to move in the halfway house. So I wind up running down, getting a pass let out late night so I can creep up on some boy that owe me some bread. And when I creep up on him, he said he had my money, whatever. Long story short, I put him in the car. We go to take a ride. He dives out my car head first when we go to turn the corner. And cops seen him diving out my car, whatever. He did what he did best, ratted, you know what I mean? Like, so he went and told the cops a lie. You know what I mean? Some fictitious story. He told them that I was kidnapping him, or I got mad because he beat me playing cards, and I tried to take him to his crib to get my money back, and all this other lie stuff he was saying. You know, I couldn't tell the cops, no, he owed me some money for some work.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
So they charged you for kidnapping?
Yeah. They charged me for all that. They charged me for kidnapping. They charged me for false imprisonment, aggravated assault. I'm talking about I had a laundry. The crazy part is this. They told me, my gang had told me, my homies had told me, like, yo, the cops pulled up the next day. They was like, yo, they pulled up looking for you. They was like, yo, we seen when he dived out the car or whatever, because we was staking out, but we didn't want to leave our undercover spot. But they was trying to say they seen that. And they was going to corner telling people, like, you know, we were looking for Rolex. That's what they call him in the street, Ricky Rolex. You know what I mean? They said, we looking for Lex. Like, you know what I mean? The cops saying that because, like I said, I was so hot with the cops. They knew me by my street name. So after they booked, they came on the corner. So one of my homies is always joking around. He was like, yo, you know, they said you running around here robbing people doing it. I'm like, man, I'm thinking he joking because I'm in the halfway house. So if they wanted me, they can come get me.
Yeah.
I'm on pre-release. So nobody never comes get me. Nobody never come gets me. So my homie comes up one day. I'm standing on the corner, and he tells me, yo, the cops is following me. I need you to cut them off for me because I'm dirty. He like, they 2 cars back. So I jump in my car thinking I'm good. And I cuts in front of the cops and turn my car off in neutral and act like it wouldn't start so they can't get so my man can get away.
Yeah.
So when he gets away, the cops get mad. They come to the side of my car like, move. You know how they be banging on your window. Move. I'm like, I won't start. I don't know what you're talking about. It won't start. I can't help it. So they mad. They like, I know this ain't. They pulls me out the car, telling me some, So I'm like, I'm thinking they mad at me about the situation I did with my man.
Yeah.
Telling me that we about to charge you with X, Y, and Z. I'm like, whatever, man. You can't charge me with all. But they really charged me with it. I got a $1 million bill now.
Oh,
you know what I mean? I wound up going back upstate. You know, I had some good people on my corner, so that situation got straightened out. So, you know, I was able to, you know, non-process, you know what I mean, when he didn't come to court. So I was able to get out after that. But I think I sat on that one in like another 8 months.
Just fighting it.
Dang,
Just
right.
fighting it. I felt like I think it was like 6 months that time. Just fighting. Because, you know, I had to go through the whole process of getting paroled and all that after that now.
You fought that from upstate or the county?
Upstate.
Upstate,
Because remember,
yeah.
I'm a state prisoner at the time.
Yeah, still on
Because
parole.
they take him, they sent him, because I was on 6 months, 6 months and 6 months halfway house. So I wasn't actually paroled yet. So they took me back. And then I came back home. When I came home this time, they come and lock me. They try to lock me up again. But luckily, the sister that was like running the drug and alcohol treatment program, she caught that the boy was trying to set me up. You know what I mean? Some clown that was at on Broad and Lehigh on Volunteers of America, jealous bull. He didn't like the fact that I was popping some of the staff.
Yeah.
So he was like, you know, telling the parole people that I wasn't going to school. I mean, I wasn't working. I was refusing to go on job interviews. And
Yo, that'd be the worst,
yeah,
right, bro?
he lying to him. He like, yo, he won't. But the whole time I go to community college. I'm going to community college, so that was a lie. So I'm like, no, it's no way that you're going to tell me. Like, so when I found out, when she tell me, she's like, you know, he trying to line you up. He tried to call me and ask me, what you going to program? I told him you do, and you doing good. You're going to college. So I'm like, how can I go to work if I'm going to college? And then he said I was like not visiting, but every time I come in, I go see him. But I wouldn't even have no passes if this was true. So long story short, when he proved to be a liar, he actually, after he proved to be a liar, he told on the chicks that was working there. Like, they lying for him because he messed with them. So they kicked me out of that joint. So they didn't take me back, so they took me to D and Luzerne.
Okay.
They took me to D and Luzerne. Now I'm at D and Luzerne, and while I'm at D and Luzerne, what happened when I was at D and Luzerne? They was somebody snitched and said I was driving every day. You know what I mean? I come out there, I had like a SWAT team out
You're
there.
not allowed
waiting.
to drive?
No, you wasn't back then. You wasn't allowed to have to drive. I had a license first of all. You know what I mean? But you wasn't allowed to drive unless you gave them all your information. Like they had to know your car or what it was. I'm not, mind you, I'm in the streets. I can't let them know all this information. They can't know what kind of car I'm in and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I pull up one day, man. They swarmed me like the mob. They just go, again. I got booked.
So how much time you think you did as a collective, like all together, right?
Like 20, over like 24 years.
24 years?
Yeah. I got booked. And then I think I had booked on that. They let me go. Then I had got caught with like, at that time, I remember I was pulling up. I had got caught with like a half a joint.
Hey.
I beat it though. I got caught with a half a joint. I beat it, illegal search and seizure. And you know what I mean? So when I beat that case, I came home. You know, I was doing the club thing. I had a few clubs and stuff. We was doing that. And I was chilling.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Then the dope scene hit heavy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Down South Philly. And it was like, somebody put me on to it. And it was like, okay, somebody like, yo, listen, my man put me on, like, listen. He come home from jail.
Yeah.
And he like, yo, care about this crack stuff, man. Like, you know, this dope game is about to be popping.
Yeah.
So I'm being innovative, you know what I mean? You know, thinking that I'm doing something, the best thing for me, making a little couple of hours, start messing with the dope game.
Mm-hmm.
And we was like one of the first couple dudes where we down there like putting on I used to see my man, you know, I ain't gonna throw his name out there, but I used to see him like back then everybody was wearing like the throwback jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
And they was like $300, $400, $500 a pop. This boy had like every team, every color. I'm like, man, there's no way this boy, he cop off me. And I ain't got all these jerseys, but the stuff that he was grabbing from me was lightweight, but he had the dope. And he was killing them on the dope and nobody else was really doing it. He was like one of the first ones I know down there really doing it. But he wasn't putting nobody on.
Mm-hmm.
So we started messing around in the dope game and it was like, it got crazy. It was like really, 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 that's like 10 times what the coke game gonna do. You see what I'm saying? It was like 10 times the amount.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm out the game, so I think they then took it to another level with the fentanyl, but.
Yeah, because I know it's still bad down there because when I first came home, I was doing trash for the city. And I used to come up and down 7th Street to do the trash, and I see like crazy needles and stuff out there. As I used to be like trying to watch the needles in the bag.
They're shooting
like,
confetti too, though.
They definitely
Or they're
fed it
mixing
out
it
now.
together.
The dope game done dried up because you can get so much more off of fentanyl, and the high is like similar. So people are really turned down on fentanyl now, so they don't even care about the dope no more.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like, that's like dudes that was drinking syrup back in the day and topping pills, they became dope fiends.
Yeah.
Because it was cheaper to get dope.
Yeah.
Now fentanyl is even cheaper to get the dope. So it's like they leveling down but leveling up, but they dying every day.
Yeah.
Because these dudes ain't chemists. Like I said, I went to school to be a drug and alcohol treatment specialist as well. And I know that a pin drop of fentanyl is equivalent to a teaspoon of dope. So these dudes didn't go to school to be no chemists. That's why people dying every day. They don't know how to measure that shit out.
Yeah.
That is like, fentanyl is two things. It's either going to be the highest level of cancer medication, of medication you can take for cancer, or it's a horse tranquilizer. So one or the other.
Yeah.
Either way, like, you're in trouble. Like, if you don't know what you're doing, messing with that fatty, you're going to kill a lot of people. You see what I'm saying? So, but going back to the story, like, when I came home and I got booked, and my lawyer, he beat that joint. He got me out of it. The late Joe Santaguida. Like, he got me out of that joint. I had Guy Sciola and Joe Santaguida on that case. And I wound up coming home again. Like I said, got caught up with the dope stuff, and I got booked over New York.
Hey.
You know, I got booked over New York, and I bailed out. You know, they held me for like a week because I had to show them where the money was coming from. My bail was like 75, and me and my co-defendants. So we wound up bailing out, going to New York. Of course, I went on the run. You know what I mean? Back then, it was like, I pay up when you catch up. I'm not giving you my money to lock me back up.
Yeah.
You said, so once my co-defendant told me when he went back to court, they raised his bill and locked him back up. I'm like, all right, well, that's on you because I'm not doing it going back down. Because it's bad enough I had to show him where 75 come from. How am I showing where 250 come from?
Yeah.
So I wound up coming home and because I got caught over in New York we got caught with like a bunch of money, like a couple, like some grands of money. We got caught with 2 hammers.
So they locked. Oh, I was about to say. I thought they just locked you up for the money. They locked you up for guns and money.
Guns, drugs, and crazy sweep. They had us on guns,
In New York?
drugs.
In New York?
In New York.
How
You know,
was?
so
Did you have to sit in there?
I did 10 years on New York.
In New York?
Yeah.
10 years?
Dang, you did a
I
dumb.
did Dom of New York. I was on Rikers Island, upstate New York. I was on MDC.
Did you plead
started
out
at
or you
MDC.
fought?
Huh?
You plead out or you fought and
I
lost?
fought.
Yeah.
I fought hard. I told them only deal I was taking was a bus ticket and a cheesesteak. Like, you know what I mean? So they found that to be a long... Because where I come from, you know, Philly, I'm like undefeated. You hold all these cases, I'm spanking these joints. So I'm like, I got some bread.
But
I'm
you have to
no
get
deal.
in. Did you have to get a New York lawyer?
I had to get a New York lawyer, clown.
That's
I
the
mean,
tough part because you don't know. In Philly, you can
people
name
was
10
putting me on,
lawyers
though.
right now.
Exactly, but you know when you're in the jail, you asking the boys, there's some minors, the boys that got paid,
And
like, who
who's-
that boy over here? But you got to realize the level of price for lawyers compared from New York to Philly was like
It's
night and
different.
day.
Same thing.
Yeah.
It was night and
No,
day
it was
because
different.
No, I'm saying it's the same thing as like if you buy cigarettes in Philadelphia and New York, they're double the price.
yeah, because you got the celebrities getting the lawyers. Remember, you got the celebrities getting the lawyers versus so the nice lawyer back then you get a crazy lawyer in Philly for a dime.
Yeah.
Down there they want like a dime for a preliminary. So I rumbled with this clown, like, you know what I mean? And to me, he sold me out. You see what I'm saying? To me, like, he sold me out. I actually had 2 lawyers, but my co-defendant that came over got extradited and came over from Connecticut, and he took one of the lawyers. I had not took one. The one that I actually was firing the other boy because he wasn't coming like I needed him to come, but I already had the bread up, so I was like, he might as well just represent my co-defendant. And he was like the best lawyer we had. The other boy that was for all the money that represented Tupac and all these other dudes, it's like, he like, man, this boy from Philly. Y'all want him? Like,
That's
pretty
probably
much.
what it was. They probably
Yeah.
like, we're going to sell him out because he ain't even from
So I
NY.
took him to trial. I'm like, man, I ain't taking no deal. I'm going to trial.
What was the deals they were offering you though?
My co-defendant took a deal for 3 years.
Yeah.
But the reason why I ain't take the deal is this, right? I'm from Philadelphia, and I grew up in a penitentiary. So the way they want you to take a deal is I gotta say that me, H, Frank, Mike all committed a crime at such and such time on such and such day.
So you got to implement your
They
codeines
can't use it
into-
against you,
Yeah.
but just in case I try to come back to court for you and say that, oh, he didn't do it, I did it. They make sure you can't be a witness for your Cody to get him off. But for me, I'm not putting my name on no paperwork that got me saying nobody else had anything to do with anything. My thing, I would have took the tray if they let me say it was just me.
Yeah.
But they wanted me to say it's this person, this
Is
person,
it
this
kind of
person.
like the situation with Gunna?
Huh?
How Gunna got up there and he was just agreeing with him?
I don't say that. I mean, my situation, like it's just literally, they call it, I forgot what they call it, but anybody that take a deal in New York, that's how you got to do it. You got to co-defend it.
You got a code there.
And it's like standard procedure. New York know that. But if I get caught up in the feds, I go home and I get caught up in the feds, somebody get that paperwork, they can try to kill you about that.
Yeah.
If I go to Philly and I get to floating around, I didn't build my name like for somebody I hated to try to act like you told on somebody. My co-defendant would have known I didn't tell, but and then they asked my co-defendant, they was like, well,
Wait, so if he took the deal, he had to say that?
he had to say it too. So one of my
About you.
co-defendants did that. You see what I'm saying? And that's why I was like, when we went to go, because I'm like, okay, my co-defendant took a deal. So in Philly, okay, we just gonna let him come down, testify, say we ain't got nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
They're like, no, he can't do that because
He
this is how the
implemented
deal
y'all
went.
in the whole situation.
So if you
too.
put him on the stand, they gonna get him a perjury saying you said that all y'all had something to do with it. So we couldn't even use him. Then I was like, so then my other co-defendant, they told my other co-defendant, like, listen, y'all can do it this way. I know I can go on this defense. Even my co-defendant was so thorough, right? Shout out to my co-D, man. If you know, you know. And they told his brother was going to testify. His brother beat the case. His brother, this crazy part, his brother just did a dime and down south. And he just came home that day, right? and we was on our way over there to handle some business, over New York to handle some business. He just wanted to go for the ride.
Yeah, dang.
And got booked.
That's crazy.
That same day, just did a dime. Can you imagine? You just did a dime, and you booked and you locked up right now. He ain't have bill money, so he set that thing out. Like, so we tried to get him out, but they raised the bills. But he
the only one that spanked though.
He the only one that spanked because
That's
where he was
crazy.
sitting at the car, they got something over in New York called constructive possession.
Mm-hmm.
That means if you put, and it's the feds too. So if there's a gun right there, over there with a Red Bull bottle, Red Bull, we all go to jail. So you know, Philly is the driver. He just go to jail. At a car, no. If you could possibly have a ability to get to that gun, to that Red Bull, you part of that gun case too. And it got to be in plain sight with it. So they was like, they found one gun under the seat. They found another gun in the glove department. They charged 4 people for both guns.
Yeah.
You said they found a little bit of work, and they found money everywhere. So they charged everybody for the same case. But where he was sitting at, like he in the back seat, one gun is here, one gun is the front of it. He would just happen to be sitting over here. So they can't prove that he could have got to a gun under this seat or in the glove department. So he was able to beat it.
Oh, out of arm's reach or something.
At arm reach. It wasn't in plain sight.
Plain sight.
So if he would have testified
Yeah.
for his brother and said that, his brother didn't have no possession, he would have said that he where he was sitting at, but they said that would have almost guaranteed me a conviction. They would have convicted me automatically. So my code, he was like, well, my brother can't testify.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So that's how thorough my code was. And we was like, well, we just gonna rumble this joint. You know what I mean? We rumbled it out. They came to us with another deal with, I think, £1. It wasn't even, like I said, I would have did the time. It wasn't about the deal. The deal, like I said, I took a deal before. Like, I know when to hold them, know when to fold them.
Yeah.
But it was more so about the fact that how they wanted us to, to
attach
take
with
the
it.
deal.
Yeah.
And my morals, my principles,
What you
was
stand
deeper
for.
than that. I stamp on that. You see what I'm saying? That's why my name is still good in every hood today.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I wouldn't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ask me this day and time, would you do it this day and time? I'd probably still say no, honestly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I make my money off my reputation.
Right.
My word is my word. You know what I mean? I'm a man of my word. I'm a man of principle. I'm a man of honor. You know what I mean? I don't never want nobody putting no dirt on mine.
You're getting paid for who you are, not what you do.
Exactly.
And that follows you.
Yeah, so I wound up going upstate for that. Like, they sentenced me to what you call 15 years at first. Because they give running all charges wild. 5, 5, and 5.
Consecutive, yeah.
Now I still remember they start running them numbers over my coach. He was like, let me get some to drink. Like, because he was his first time really doing a state bid. I'm institutionalized by this point. Like, I'm adding up. What's the good time they got over here? I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna do that. You know what I mean? I'm so institutionalized. I'm like, all right, that's about how many basketball seasons. Like, but they wound up having to bring us back down and run 2 of the 5s together because they both was guns, and it became a 9 flat. Over New York, you do 85% of the time, but automatically with me, a detainer dropped on me.
From
You
Philly.
was still on paper.
I was still on parole.
Dang. So you had to come back to Philly and to PA and do time too?
I had to go back. I had to go back down to Fort.
After your New York?
After New York.
Dang.
So I had to go back to Philly, and they
It's still
they wanted all this.
It's still a relief though to
gave me-
at least come back around to the city, to the state.
But he just
No,
did the
honestly,
whole.
I'm gonna keep it
just
real.
had a
If
dime
I knew they was gonna
Yeah,
give me,
but you're getting closer to your destination of the way out.
New
I
York
was in
probably was
17
better. They
jail.
got furloughs and stuff.
I had a
right?
baby over New York, bro.
Oh, you have conjugal visits.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that's what I meant. I said,
I had
yeah.
conjugal visits over New York. They could have
Yeah.
kept me over New York. They got
Yeah.
stoves and microwaves. Like, if I got a
Clothes.
bid and I'm getting some good, like, man, I'm keep me over New York.
Bid.
If listen, they late, they gonna come with you at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I felt like, I wanted to. Once I came back, I wanted to come back because the only way you can fight your violations if you in the Department of Correction. You can't fight it from a distance.
Yeah.
You got to turn over to them and then you can fight it. So once I came over there, like I said, during the process of all this, the sad part of all this is when I was over there in over New York, I lost my grandmom who raised me to cancer, and I was happened to be in a hole. Like I did like 5 years of that 10 in a hole over there.
Dang.
You know what I mean? So, and I was in like 17 different jails.
And the
Over
other
there, every
5
time you
in
go to
another
hole,
hole.
you get more than 40 days. In more than 30 days, they send you to a different jail. And they hole is a jail by itself. So you don't just be in a jail in the hole. You go to what they call a shoot 200.
The whole
And
jail's
that's
a
the
hole.
whole jail's a hole.
Dang.
Then I got administrated to the hole. That's when I lost my grandma. So hurt people. So, I was so angry in this joint, you know what I mean? So, right before I went to prison, I was a kidney donor for my sister because she had lupus and she got kidney failure. So my whole thing was just hurry up to get home so I can get my sister kidney because she kept being sick. Soon as I hit greatest forward, like, I got down to about 10 days later, she died.
Dang.
You see what I'm saying? I wasn't even there because I was going to be able to get a kidney as long as I get there. And remember, I couldn't go to nobody's funeral because I'm a high risk and too influential and I'm a high risk case. You know what I mean? So they would never let me move. It's like, no, back then, it wasn't no gangs like that, but they were gang leader, drug lord, like all this craziness. So I couldn't go to no funerals. You know what I mean? So all this stuff is playing on my psychic. You know what I mean? I'm like, done with this shit. Like, you know what I mean?
So that was your aha moment? My
Yeah,
friend. Like you was done after that. Like, bro, it's a wrap after that. Like,
bro, one time my sister left and kind of came back. Like she was supposed to die before, and she fought through that shit and made it out.
yeah.
And I was like, the only thing I got to worry about is getting home to my sister and save her life. You see what I'm saying? And I lost my grandma. I'm like, man, I never want to be in this. See, that's the stuff that you don't accumulate until your sentence. See, dudes like, I can do this amount of time a year, but you ain't counting for those phone calls when your daughter's saying, somebody tried to touch me. Somebody tried to take it.
Yeah.
Your daughter's saying, your sons are saying like, damn, like, you keep telling them it's real soon you coming home, but they're like, listen, man, I need you here now.
Yeah.
Them stories, they tell me I'm sick and tired of you doing all your time in jail. My daughter's sending me letters telling me like, man, I got to get this off my chest.
Yeah.
Like, you ain't been here none of my life.
Yeah.
Like, I'm tired. And then, you know what I mean, like I said, losing people, the closest to you. It was 3 people in that house. It was 4. Me, my sister, my grandma, grandfather. I came home, the whole house was going. My grandfather had old timers by this time. Like, it was like a mess. So I was like, yo, I'm never going to put myself in a position like that again.
Yeah.
Where I'm so codependent and so, you know what I mean, useless.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't get my sister kidney. I couldn't be there for my grandmom that raised me while she was on her deathbed. Like, you know what I mean? I wasn't there to really be there for my grandma. So I was like, yo, I'm not doing that ever again.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to let their raising me be in vain. Like they just raised some type of knucklehead crook.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I want my kids, I wanted to end that generational curse right there. I didn't want my kids to grow up idolizing Ricky Rolex. I wanted them to really know who their father was. I wanted to be a better example to them.
So this happened at Graterford. You had that light bulb go off.
Yeah, I was in a program called the FACT program. But it happened over New York. You know, basically when I lost my grandmom was like, yo, this shit's crazy. And here they go telling me why I'm in a hole, administrated to the hole.
Yeah.
Like your grandma already died.
How old were you?
Huh?
How old were you at this time?
Roughly
Around
in my
about
30s.
in your 30s.
Yeah, my 30s. I'm saying about mid-30s.
And you came to Graterford. How long did you have to do with Graterford?
Went to greatest for. They gave me, my first hit was like 24 months.
2-year hit.
Then they hit me another one, 6-month hit. You know what I mean? Then they finally let me go. They wasn't gonna parole me to Pennsylvania. They want to let me back. Want me to go back to Philly. So I had to, get with my folks and tell them like, listen, here's some bread. I need you to go get a crib out Delaware, so I can, they can let me go. They're not gonna let me go to Philly. They basically told me that. And I remember, I never forget what the parole dude said. The parole dude said, listen, he had a stack of files over here with everybody that they had to see for parole. Then he had another folder over here. He was like, this is the average prison parole file. This is yours. He was like, why do your joint like the Pittsburgh Steelers playbook? He was like, listen, you don't belong in Philadelphia. Like, you don't know how to act in Philadelphia. So I'm like, well, I'm trying to change my way of life. He said, your home plan don't say that. He said, I don't think, I'm not willing to let you go back to Philadelphia. So I paroled to Delaware. After
Can
that,
you
they
blame
finally
him?
paroled me. Huh?
Can you blame them for thinking like that?
No,
That
I
probably
mean,
helped him too, even more.
yeah, it did. It did because it limited, you know what I mean, things I can do,
Interactions,
my
what,
interactions.
people, places, and things, they say?
And it was tempting. Like when I came home, like, you know, as time went on, as time went on, it was real tempting. It was like, yo, like my money was starting to like had a little nest egg when I came home, but my money was getting a little funny. Like when you spending thousands of dollars,
The
money
parole
got, I
guy.
was spending like thousands of dollars. Like man, I ain't got nothing coming in. But I didn't want to go back to jail, so I was like, I'm gonna get a job. So
I was going to ask you that. Like, what was your plan? So you come home and all you knew was the street life. You say you don't want to do that again. So I'm sure in there you learned a few things and invested in yourself. But what was your plan coming home now? You never had a job, did you really?
no, I never had a real job. I had one real job.
So now you have to be a productive member of
in my life,
society.
and that lasted about 2 months before I was in a body cast after that.
So what was your plan?
So my plan was I wrote programs, and I was a good facilitator when I was in the jail, when I was in jail. So so my thing was, I was gonna come home and do what I'm doing now. Honestly, I said, but I didn't know it was gonna get to where it got to where it's at now.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I want to come home, get back. I'm gonna start my program.
Yeah.
My program originally named was Ball Enough Scholastic and Sports. I wrote it when I was in there, and then it was like, what I mean, it was like, okay, I met a mentor by the name of Dr. Tom Reed when I was in the FAC program, and he gave me my first shot at a job when I came home. But he used to always say I used to leave there and go to the schools all the time and talk to the kids and. So he's like, yo, and I was a drug and alcohol treatment specialist when I first came. I was a director of reentry and drug and alcohol. So he was like, this ain't really what you want to do. He's like, I had a program. It's been doormat. I outgrew it. Like I started it, but it wasn't for me because people didn't look at me like I needed them to look at me. I was a little bit too old for the situation. He said, but it's called NOMO. You know what I mean? He's like, but if it's already incorporated, it got something, a couple of hours in the bank. This is what you want to do. This is what you can do. And you know what I mean? He said, I'll continue to pay you to do it until you go and be able to pay yourself. So he gave me that jump start. So it was doormat for about a couple years, about 5-6 years, and I reignited it. You know what I mean? Started doing that. So that was my thing. And while in the process of doing that, I did what I had to do to keep money on the table, like without illegal shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? So what I did was I did Uber, I did Lyft. I did Instacart. I did it wasn't DoorDash. It was something else called. It was another app, but it was like a delivery joint. So I used to put all these joints on at the same time, and it used to like give me a rush because I thought I had the phone again. Like my phone was popping again. I'm like, that boom. I'm running around making these runs, but the whole thing. Here's the twist. Remember, I'll never consider myself a dumb dude, and I always did promotion. I always was a hustler. See, a hustler, a drug dealer and a hustler is two different people. A drug dealer, drugs sell themselves. You got that smoke, it's going to go. You see what I'm saying? But a hustler can sell water to a wheel. A hustler can make you buy some shit you wasn't even thinking about buying.
Yeah.
A hustler had you give up your rent money. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what I did was I would use the Instacart, the Uber Eats, the DoorDash, and the other little apps that I had going on my phone because I know I needed my freedom. I couldn't do a 9 to 5. I had too much stuff I was trying to do, like, and I just wasn't me to be stuck.
So if you wanted to cut it off, you can cut it off. Do what you want. Cut it back
literally,
on.
you gotta listen. It got so crazy with that joint, and then I was on house arrest. So somebody told them what happened was when I was up there, they sent me home to Philly to my dad's house, and while I was waiting for Delaware to get approved. Somebody told them that I was still going living over Delaware. Rats gonna do what they do. They gonna eat. They cheese. You know what I mean? So, and they put me on house arrest. Mind you, I wasn't on house arrest. I wasn't doing nothing dirty trying to call clean. I was violent. I was going over to Delaware. You know what I mean? That's where I lived at. But somebody told me they put me on house arrest or whatever. They told them some other stuff that wasn't true. But while I'm on house arrest, the only way I can get out off of house arrest is working. So I worked at the drug and alcohol treatment specialist joint with New Stop, but I also said, all right, well, I do Uber, Lyfts, and all that now too.
Yeah.
So the only way I could stay outside the house, like I said, was doing that. So I was making like $2,000, $1,500 to $2,000 a week doing off them apps. But also I looked at it as an opportunity, and I looked at the whole ecosystem of it. I'm like, this thing works by navigation. So if I go out to the main line, only people I'm going to get that's going to ding my phone is people on the main line. I'm not going to get that. I'm not going to ride out North Philly for somebody to ride me from Cecil B. Moore to Allegheny and make $6 and burn these miles on my car, and they want to be in there and do all type of. So I went where the money was at. So I made sure I strategically planned my shifts and went to places with money. So while I was doing that, I used to always put information about the nonprofit in their stuff. Or if I was doing Uber and Lyft, I made sure I had my picture book and all of that back there in the seat. So when you got back in the seat, you're like, excuse me, somebody left this. Oh no, that's my nonprofit. Oh, you got a nonprofit? Tell me about it.
Yeah.
So I used to tell them about it, used to see what I was doing. So, okay, bad. All right. How do you donate?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How can I be a part of something like that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when I was doing the Instacart and I was delivering the groceries and all that, you know, I was putting the information in their bags. Like I was delivering all the Eagles and all of them, and I knew where the buildings was.
Yeah.
So I identified. See, I learned about the SWOT analysis. What's your strength, weakness, and opportunity and threats of your jobs?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, this is gonna work. So I might make $1,500 on the books for me, but I get no more about $8,000, $10,000 donations that week.
Real quick too, you mentioned NOMO a couple times. What's NOMO?
NOMO is an acronym that stands for New Options, More Opportunities. It's the nonprofit that I'm the CEO and executive director of. That, you know, is pretty much how that's my lifeline right now. That's exactly what it's basically it's an early initiative intervention prevention program
Okay.
for young adults ages 11 to 24, but we take a holistic approach and not just service them, but the family as well. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So that's what we're doing with NOMO. Like NOMO is strictly like I said, we paying the young people $200 to $400 a month, get them their driver's license. You know what I mean? Get them everything that they need. You know what I mean? To be successful out here in these streets, get them on job opportunities, paying for college educations and stuff like that. Just, you know what I mean? Trying to support these young people so they won't. I got my feet dirty so they can keep theirs clean.
All right. And where's NOMO located?
Well, we got a few of them.
Okay.
So we on Broad and Girard. We on that's our North Philly location. Excuse me, got a little cold. We in South Philadelphia and Broad and Federal, and we have a housing program for young women 18 to 24 for luxury affordable housing on 40th and Lancaster.
Okay.
And we got inside of there, we got an affordable hair care center, event space, a one-stop resource center, and an economic development center.
That's lethal.
Yeah.
That's definitely lethal.
Yeah. So like all that grew. Like I said, when I first got it, when Dr. Reed turned it over to me, it was strictly just we was in a classroom. I mean, in a bedroom. Then I turned it to a classroom. So we grew from there.
So bedroom, classroom. Then how to start going? You got a building.
We went and got a building. After we got our first building, we went and got after we got our first building, it got sold. And then
So you rented the building.
no, it was Dr. Reed.
Oh, okay.
He gave it to us again, like I said, and he sold it.
Okay.
And you know, that bread came along, so he had to get rid of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we got our next building on Broad and Girard. Then we got our next building on Broad and Federal.
Now is this from all donations or
No, I
is
told
it
my
private
homie, right?
funding or
I told
state
my homie
funding?
when I first came home, right? I said, listen, they was giving out something called an activity grant. And the activity grants was like $2,500, $500. And I was like, man, this ain't nothing but something that's going to get, you know what I mean? You can't save no lives with this. So my first grant was through Philly Works, TANF. And they gave me $238,000, I think. No, $338,000. Then they wound up giving me like another 6-something, or 7-something. It became like a $1.2 million grant. You know what I mean? And after that, you know, I said, man, listen, if the city really wanted to get some things done, they're going to have to at least, they got to give up about $1 million.
Yeah.
And we was the first recipient of $1 million grant from the city.
City of Philadelphia?
Yeah.
That's heavy, man.
And so right now we operate off a $2.7 million budget
Per year?
per year, yeah.
That's heavy.
And like I said, I started with NOMO, and I think I had $20,000 in the bank. But that's the hustler mentality. See, you so equipped with street smarts, and remember, I went to Penn State, came home with the community. You know what I mean? So I knew I wanted to do better. I just had to do better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But when I came home this time, I wasn't playing no games. And I knew that I
But
had a mentality.
You had 1 foot in still. That's why you couldn't give it your full everything if you're still messing with this.
Huh?
I said you had 1 foot in still, so you couldn't give everything your full attention because you're still messing with this. When growing up and before you made the crossover fully.
I wasn't thinking about doing nothing else when I was in the streets.
Yeah. Well, you were getting your education still. You were still.
Yeah, like I said,
And when you went to jail, you were doing
I
programs.
wasn't a dumb dude. And honestly, like everything has some level of manipulation with it. Like I went to community because I knew the halfway houses couldn't clock me. But I still had intellectual property that I couldn't get rid of. You know, I still was adding to my portfolio. I still was putting another tool on my tool belt. So at the end of the day, you know, I still was gaining knowledge. Because I didn't just go to, like I said, one thing I learned in the skin, you know, I call it CAT. CAT stands for criminal addicted thinking. When you operate from a space like that, you always thinking of the fast lane or the fast way, or if not the fast way, another way outside the traditional way.
Yeah.
So in my mind, it was like, okay, the traditional loan, if you want to get your business or something off the ground or get some money from the bank, the interest rate is here. But if I go to school, they'll give me that same loan, and if I don't, and if it's not a subsidized loan versus unsubsidized loan, I won't have to. As long as I pay on it before I get out of school, won't be no interest on it. So I was able to get bread that way. You see what I'm saying? And at the same time, while I'm doing what I need to do, you can call my job and see if I went to work, but it's illegal for the college. You can't call the college and ask me what's going on with my education. So I'm like, they can't track me like that. Now I can operate my passes different. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, well, where you going? I'm going to study hall. I got to do my homework. I got this. I got that. The only thing they need to see is my roster. After that, I have free range to do what I need to do.
Yeah. So it's safe to say when he was going through that, he just was trying to be a smarter criminal.
Yeah.
The light bulb didn't go off yet, bro. You feel me?
The light bulb ain't go off yet, but when it went off, I was equipped and ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you already had, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a good job. So everything you went to, 24 years incarcerated, and then you right here now with how many locations you said? 3 locations, 4 locations?
3 locations.
3 locations.
Yeah.
One of the biggest nonprofits in the city.
Trying to be, man. Shout out to all the other brothers doing the work out there. You know,
Right.
There's a lot of boots on the ground organizations that might not have the funding or the ability to raise the money, but they're doing some great work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't never want to be the big. I really want to be put out of business. Because the need for the anti-violence and all that, I want the numbers is down this year. Shout out to the numbers being down, but it's still so much more work to be done.
Yeah, right.
But my goal was for someone like that to take my seat. You know what I mean? Because what a lot of dudes don't know is I took a pay cut to do what I do. You see what I'm saying? Because as I told you my history on, you know, I wasn't just in the game. Like I made a substantial amount of money. You see what I'm saying? So, but I took a life upgrade by switching it around. You know, I might have took a pay cut financially, but I took a life upgrade. So a hustler mentality always going to provide you with resources to get money outside of, because what people don't realize, nonprofit is not the biggest, because it's a government entity. Like you don't own it, the government owns it. So when $2.7 million, at least 80% of that got to go towards the mission. You know, and so it's not like that's some money that went in my pocket.
Right.
That goes towards the work that need to be done. Like I got over, between my payroll and my bills, you know, at the end of the month, it's over $250,000. That's how your pay. That's why your budget gets to be 2.7. Your budget means not saying this is the money that you get, because a lot of times you're chasing that number. Your budget means this is what it's going to cost to run this program. It don't mean somebody gave you $2.7 million.
Right.
It means you got to go find it. You're in the nonprofit world. You're a professional beggar. You know what I mean? And people invest into the person, into the vision, into the mission, into the brand, into the reputation. So it's a constant battle and it's constant work every day upholding that brand, that mission, that reputation. You know what I mean? And then you got to fulfill the obligation of going to find that $2.7 million. You know, my staff, and there's been times where my staff, they didn't get paid for a month because they're about to work. You see what I'm saying? And that we'll rather pay the kids before we pay ourselves. You see what I'm saying? So, and we still waiting on, a lot of these grants are reimbursement grants, what I call ghost grants.
Yeah.
So you might, a person gonna reward you with you get an award letter saying that you got $1 million. But you gotta have $1 million to get $1 million. So that means you gotta raise money to spend this money for them to reimburse you the money that you spent. So that means that costs for you to get a credit line and all different type of things just to do. This is hard work. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This ain't a walk on. This ain't just about talking. I get calls all day. I want to come speak to the kids. Like, bro, this is big. This is way bigger than you just sitting there kicking it with some kids telling about your war stories. You see what I'm saying? My war stories will turn to glory stories for me because I've been through what I've been through to get to where I got to. But at the end of the day, you know, these kids, when you get in front of them, they want to know, okay, old head, I hear you, but what's next? What can you do for me now? I don't care about who you was back in the day.
Yeah.
I don't care about your war stories, but what can you do for me now? What are you doing different now? Why you got them black forces on and them joints is thick? Like, you know what I mean? You ain't got no gig? Like, so what type of real model are you right now? Because I believe in real models over role models. Some people call them credible mentors. I call them real models. That's somebody, you got to put people in front of these young people that they can relate to in real time, realistically. You know what I mean? This is not a video game. You can't press pause, reset, and then play. You know what I mean? You can't reset the game when it's a blowout.
No, you fall
When
out.
it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's bad. You got to stand on that. You see what I'm saying? You got to continue to do the work. I just lost another kid last week. His stepfather killed him. You see what I'm saying? I lost another kid just riding a bike. Like, this is my two I lost in 10 years. You know, that two is still equivalent to losing a kid every day to me.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? My wins is when I go to them graduations. I don't want to go to court dates. I go to court dates though, because I know everybody can make mistakes.
Yeah.
Everybody deserves a second chance. They literally had me in a paper on the news, on the news maybe 2 weeks ago, because a dude came home from the penitentiary from doing some years, went through my restorative justice program, elevated, did what he had to do, you know, graduated from our restorative justice program, and we gave him a shot, an intern shot. But guess what he did? He did on his off time, this was 5 years ago, on his off time, he went and he was selling guns and he got caught. Got a book, put in the feds. He did 22 years, got in the first dime. But of course, what they want to do in the meeting, they want to say, well, he used to work for the NOMO employee. No, he was a dude that got a second chance. I stand on that. Yeah, I gave him a shot. He passed all the background checks. He went through all the training. I can't go home with him, though. I can't tell you, nobody at this table who y'all sleeping with.
Yeah, you only could do what you could do.
I can do what you do. Once you clock out, you clocked out of my life. I know you represent the brand outside of it, but I can't do nothing. If I find out,
Those actions don't represent what I represent.
Exactly. When if I found out, you were done. But when why you talking about NOMO? But why we ain't talking about his probation officer, his parole officer? They the ones that are responsible for clocking him, not me.
Supervising him.
They is in charge of supervising him, not me. Yeah. I'm in charge of to make sure I sign off his paycheck if he do what he got to do at work. Whatever he do outside of work, that's not my responsibility. That's that parole man job. Let's talk about the DOC. Talk to people that paroled him. Don't talk to me about that. My job is to save these lives of these people out here and give second chance like the second chance was given to me.
Yeah. If you didn't give him a job, then that'd be spotlighted. Oh, he ain't giving people second chances.
Listen, what we do when the dude come through the joint, when the dude come through the prison, what we do? Get a net bag, make sure he got some shower shoes, we make sure he got something to eat, some cosmetics. That's we got to still get that net bag out on the streets. When the dude come home, we got to have a net bag for him. We can't just have a party, give him a few dollars in his pocket. That money ain't gonna last forever. You see what I'm saying? And don't send him to no $8 an hour warehouse job because I ain't gonna do nothing but put him in a bad space. Which though he gonna feel like I gotta find a way to get some more money. You know what I mean? We gotta set dudes up to win, man. You know what I mean? Streets to success, man.
Yeah, no, facts. Facts, man. So what you got planned for NOMO in the next couple of years? Where you see NOMO at?
Man, I see NOMO international. Like I'm trying to go, state to state with it. I'm trying to package it up. You know what I mean? Where the program could be all throughout the country. You know what I mean? We just did something on Fox a few weeks ago. I think they're going to air it again on October 27th, called Greater for the Greatness. You know, it's talking about our housing program. I get a lot of. I go state to state now. Like, shout out to Esther. I know they down in Chicago. I've been down there a few times. They want to model the program down there. I got some people in Williamsport want to model the program over Jersey. I've been to L.A. You know, they're trying to do something. I got some calls from down Florida. You know, so I'm trying to package it up and be able to, you know, I don't got to be there, but be able to, you know, have that program there and, you know, for it to do the work that need to be done.
Right.
So partner with people, like looking for partnerships or?
No, you know, when you package the program up, you could just sell the model.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? You could just train the trainers.
Now, what do you want to obviously meet that person and know these people that are pushing your brand? Like that's
why I
gotta
said
be
train
important.
the trainers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You train the trainers.
Because you want to stamp it, you're putting your name on it.
You do your due diligence, and you ascertain the fact. It's like franchising. Like everybody that got a McDonald's, you ain't gonna know everybody that work in that McDonald's.
Yeah.
But you gonna know the owner. You invest in people. Like if you came to me right now, and if H came to me right now and said, yo, I'm trying to start a NOMO. I know H. I'm like, you know what you're trying to do. I'm gonna put you on. This is what you're gonna do. But sometimes it might be the program within itself, then it might not be the name. You might just want the know-how. You might want this, what they call the secret sauce, which is really no secret sauce. The secret sauce is work, dedication, loyalty. You know, wraparound service. Like things are based on relationships. A lot of young people they don't care. Like I said, they don't know who you are. These young boys, that's like I said, we started off. And H said, man, I was born when you got booked. So you know, somewhere down the line, our connection came from a connection, because your reputation precedes you before you walk in any room. These young boys don't know you. They heard of you. They'll research you. You know what I mean? And then your reputation speaks for itself. You see what I'm saying? So you got to build this brand. These brands is not built overnight. Like I think we had a talk in the beginning. Like, listen, it's going to grow. I watched this Streets to Success go from, you know, 2 followers to building up thousands, and you know it builds up. The reputations build up. You start merching. Things go up. Like Alpha and get big off peanuts. One thing I always tell people: don't step over a dollar to pick up a penny. You see what I'm saying? Don't step over a dollar to pick up a penny.
That's game right there.
Yeah.
Right.
That's where I'm at with it, man.
Yeah,
I'm really
stay
trying to
down. Stay down until you come up. You stayed down.
I stayed down, man, and like I said, the life behind it. Like I said, the Ubers, the Instacart, all them things that I did. Like that's a story that's really not yet to be all the way told yet. But at the end of the day, you know what I mean. It was a lot of grinding, and a lot of people. I ain't doing this. I ain't gonna do it. Well, man, what you ain't want to do is somebody else is.
Yeah.
You gotta put your pride. You gotta put your pride aside to make moves for something to happen, and believe that it's gonna happen anyway. While you're doing the stuff you really don't want to do.
Yeah.
But you even utilized it with the putting the flyers in the bags and all.
It's all about
Strategic,
marketing.
yeah.
Like I said, I did the clubs. I sold work. Like so, all this is marketing. See, people just don't. That's what that school taught me. So that's why you mix the education with the street smart. They taught me about, you know, what's marketing and, you know, how to brand yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How to promote, how to present. Public speaking started with me just talking to people inside of the Uber and the lifts, having those conversations.
No, in jail.
Yeah, I started in jail.
Real
but,
rap.
you know,
That's how
I
we
was used to
started,
them
too.
dudes. I'm used to
Yeah.
all. Yeah, like I'm used to. I know. See, one thing is this is the thing. One of the another keys is you got to meet the people where they at.
Yeah.
And be able to speak the language of the people. Everybody's language ain't the same.
No.
See, I can go to jail and facilitate, and I can speak a whole different model and different language that everybody in there going to be able to relate to. But like I said, you got to be able to go from greater for the greatness. You got to be the same way you kicking in the yard, you got to be kicking in the boardroom.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. That's why you got to have that you got to be bilingual. And you know what I mean? Be able to speak the language of the people.
Yeah.
What's in front of you, how to perform. Like, you see what I'm saying? I'm not going to pick up nobody from Mainline and be talking about, yo, what's up with you? Did you hear Rod Wave new joint?
Yeah, well, that's a good joint.
You see, that's a good joint. Like, man, I can't go kick it with them like that.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But I can pick up, I remember I picked up Josh Hart, you know what I mean? And, you know, we was talking about school and everything. He was like, damn, old head, you know what I mean? I said, and I asked him, I said, bro, y'all just won a championship. Why you ain't go pro? He said, man, I can be broke one more year. He said, I'm getting my education because if this don't work, I got to have something to fall back on. He said, they was telling me I'm predicted to be this. I need to be guaranteed this. You know what I mean? And we talk sports, we talk school. You see what I'm saying? And we talk real life to the point he ain't had no car. You see what I'm saying? He was one of the top players in the country then. I'm like, bro, young boy, you want to go to the games? I'm going to come grab you. Think about shout out to Mike Moore going into the, you know what I mean? Going over there to Danny Rump and all that. Like, I'll go grab him up and over. Like, you want to go, bro? I'll come grab you. You know what I mean? You don't owe me nothing. You know what I mean? But
sacrifice, man.
the sacrifice is the relationships building. Like, one of my biggest supporters, like, is, you know what I mean? Like, she's one of my biggest supporters. Damn. It's crazy because I always jam her name up. But a lot of people, they really, it shocked me when she first hit me in my DM. Like, you know what I mean? Christian Ann Bell. Like, when she first hit me in my DM, because people think you freestyle, right? Christian Ann Bell, right? You know, that's from Frozen.
Yeah.
You know, Christian Ann Bell, like, she's sitting on, you know what I mean? When I went to her page, I'm like,
is this a fake page?
15.8 million followers. I'm like, what she hit me about?
Yeah.
But this thing that they call social media, www, people don't realize
World
Wide Web goes everywhere.
Why you think
1%, I'm everywhere, but you never
push
there.
your social media?
Social media,
It could
she
change
just,
your world.
She just caught it on, I know she wasn't just following me, so she probably caught it on a For You page or something and was like, let me tap into that. Let me see what's going on. She like, listen, I love what you're doing. I'm like, mind you, she on LA time. And I'm over here in Philadelphia. Like, and I'm like, so I'm in the bed and I'm in my folks and bro, hit the DM and I'm like, I'm trying to sneak and look at the joint, you know what I mean? So I don't be drawing.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I'm like, who this? I'm like, it's gotta be a fake page. Like, what is it, bro? I'm like, she's talking about, I like you, I like what you're doing. And you know what I mean? Not I like you, I like what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She happily married her husband, doing their thing. But it was like, I want to look out for you. Then she hit me with the joint like, send me your information, your account information. I'm like, oh, this one of them Cash App joints. Like they trying to scam me.
They trying to get your
I'm like,
page and
you
all
wait
that.
on it.
Yeah.
She's like, is there another way I come over here? I'm like, here go the website. Next day that joint, I'm like, damn, that joint, I see something come from PayPal, 20 grand. I'm like, oh shit, she official. Like, you know what I mean? Now I'm asking dudes, who this? Like they put me, oh, you don't know who that is? That's Christian Ann, but like she major. You know what I mean? Then right after that, she gave us like 50. Like she had did something with American Express.
That's great.
But that's because the work was speaking for itself. You see what I'm saying? She didn't know me as an individual. She knew the work. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm putting it out there. That's part of marketing again.
She didn't give it to you. She gave it to the mission.
She gave it to the mission. She gave it to NOMO. She gave it to those kids.
Yeah.
And she sent us like 1,000 of everything from a Hello Bello line to the point where as though they bought them in crates. And I had to find a warehouse for them to be delivered in. So I had to call down local 332 like, yo, call my old ass Sam Stan. Like, can I get him to drop it off there? He like, man, you done took up all my space in my warehouse. You got to do something with this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, she really was heavy on the lookout. And again, that just came from, you know, not doing something dirty, trying to call clean, being who I am. Like a lot of people say, I do it from the heart and I don't want everybody in my business. That's cool if you got some bread already and you can afford to do that. Like you got some money, but if you're trying to raise some money and you really trying to really be productive in this space, you got to let people know what you're doing. But how can you do it in secret?
Yeah, right.
How I'm going to know how to come? If you're doing it in secret, how you going to service me?
Yeah, right.
If I don't know you, I don't know you.
Yeah.
So you gotta make sure you have. Don't never get caught up in that stigma. He's showing. A lot of people talking about he's showing off. He always showing. No, it's not showing off. I'm showing the people. If I don't show you, who gonna tell you?
Yeah.
Marketing.
I'm marketing.
Yeah.
But
If it
when
ain't
you
out
stuck
there,
in
how
that
do you
generational
know?
curse, and you so ignorant to what's the real world of the real life. You see what I'm saying? You don't know about marketing. You just showing off. Like you don't know about networking. You being Joe.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
We
You
just was talking about that with Isaiah Thomas, the councilman.
D.H.
Real rap.
D.A., what you think? Get out of here.
Real rap.
Are you paranoid somebody speak to you that don't know you? That could be $1 million trying to have a conversation with you.
Yeah. Too cool.
You too cool. You like, man, I'm good. Like, what's up? How you doing? My name is I'm good.
Yeah.
All right. No problem, tough guy. Okay, you know what I mean? And because some of the richest people, you gonna look at them as everyday people. They don't walk around and be all flashy. They like, they gonna have a conversation with you, and you gonna act goofy because you gonna think he's some nut. You know what I mean? Just somebody in your business. But your business gotta be show business if you in the business.
Yeah.
Well, it goes back to broadening your horizon, like how you said, all right, I was in the streets, but I still got an education. I was still intellectual. People put themselves in a box and stay there. So if somebody is dressed different than them, talk different than them, they're just not going to associate with them when really they're missing opportunities because of that.
They miss an opportunity because your network is your net worth. Believe me. If this phone, this right here, this phone right here
Ain't stopped ringing, I know.
is $1 billion phone. This phone right here is $1 billion phone. Why? Because I got a billionaire in there. And I got a couple multi-millionaires in there. I ain't got their money, but I got social economics.
Yeah.
Social economics supersede anything you can put in your pocket because I got the opportunity to call, or ask, or build that relationship to get to some money. You see what I'm saying? So when you don't have that line, what you gonna do? You know. So, but and the thing is this: I had an opportunity maybe about 6 months ago to connect some people, some community people, you know, with a couple people that give me some bread. They said, I'm coming over to visit you, you know what I mean? I want you to see what's going on, come see your program. I said, would you mind if I introduce you to some people? Because, man, this is that net bag. Man, we talk about that net bag. It's that net bag now. I want to be able to give them a bag too. So I invited everybody out. You know, I got a funder, meet the funder. You know, some people came, some people didn't. Because everybody want to be the man. Everybody name want to be on the building. So I ain't going that joint. But everybody that came, they gave $20,000 to. Everybody came to fund it, not me.
So you missed out on 20 bands because you don't. That's crazy.
You don't
'Cause I'm
want
at the
fall in
headline.
line. You don't want that. So I don't mess with that boy like that. You know what I mean? So everybody walked out with a dub. You see what I'm saying? And to me, it felt good to be able to extend that to other people. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To be able to extend that olive branch. I ain't got a dub to give you, but I know who do. I'm gonna take you to the water, just drink. Come prepared, come ready. You see what I'm saying? And that's what it's about to me now in this day and time is, you know, coming together collaboratively, partnering up with this good people that's doing the work, not trying to reinvent the wheel, not trying to do it all, because that shit is, like I said, is work.
Yeah.
If my budget become $4 million, I gotta work double the hard, I gotta work even harder now. And they don't get that bread up like they used to. That's a lot of, I'm talking about every day you work. You're working when you're not actually in the building working. Because I gotta be at these social events, these networks. I gotta constantly be out in the space.
Yeah.
You always out, you always trying to show, no, I'm out here trying to chase this bag. And I don't even get 2% of it. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is to support the mission. Now, it's great when your passion is able to pay your bills. That's a beautiful thing. They say when you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. This is not a job for me. This is a lifestyle. So at the end of the day, I take pride in getting up in the morning, going to work. I also take pride in vacationing too. You know what I mean?
And you
Because
put so
that
much
wellness
work
is
in.
real. You're gonna need that self-care.
You get burnt out.
It's the burnout is real.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm here now with my sons.
Yeah.
My 2 baby sons.
And we appreciate you, by the way.
I still gotta be a
No,
parent.
real rap. We appreciate you.
I still gotta be a
man.
husband. I still gotta be a parent. I still gotta be a father to my kids. I still gotta be that CEO. And I still got 3-4 other businesses that I gotta run. You see what I'm saying? Because again, this is where my lifeline, my love is at. But if I want to be able to wear the stuff that I like to wear and drive the cars that I like to drive, it can't stop here.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And again,
That's
I
for
wasn't
the
a drug
people you
dealer. I'm a hustler.
want to do something for you.
I got, what did I say in the beginning? How many kids I got?
10.
10 kids. They never stop asking.
Yeah.
I don't care how old they are. They still, and they feel like, listen, you've been in jail all your life. You old.
Yeah, they feel like you
You know,
own.
you owe kid support. Forget child support. You gonna pay us long as, you know, all those first grade trips from second, third, fourth, fifth, and prime. You gonna add it up.
Yeah.
You still, I did 23 years
You owe
in
back
jail.
time.
I ain't been home 23 years yet. So I still got back time, like you said.
But
I'm
you
gonna
probably
forever
feel
live in
good
violation.
doing it though.
I
Like
love it.
Yeah.
I love to be able to answer the phone and have one of my baby girls or my son saying, Dad, can you do it? And being able to do it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I pay all my mom bills and love it.
All right.
You see what I'm saying? I made sure all my kids is in the best of position they allow me to put them in.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? They're always my first option. You see what I'm saying? I can take them to the water. It's up to them to drink.
Yeah.
But I love to even have the connections to be able to move the pieces for them. I like Dad to be their first option.
That's like people hating on LeBron James for getting his son in the league. Like
Why
anybody,
wouldn't he?
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you want to get your son in the league if you can't. Like you want to put him in the game.
You know why they hating? Because they can't do it.
Yeah.
But why wouldn't you? Listen, what's the goal? What's your end goal?
You gotta
You
hand
see
it
what I'm
off.
saying?
Make sure they're
You
straight.
gotta hand it off. I'm about to go. Hope my son do his thing.
Next generation.
Next generation, pass it down. If you want to, if you pass down generational curse, why not pass down generational wealth?
Facts.
Because we train our kids for all the negative shit sometimes. You know what I mean? We see our kids, then mom got their daughters doing this TikTok dance, this real dancing to some shit, talk about eating something up. Like, you really got your daughter dancing to that.
And
You know
that's
what
why I think the problem is, Rick, I don't think it's actually a generational curse. Well, it is a generational curse, but we recreate in history. It's like history
That's
not...
the generational curse.
Yeah, but it's like...
What's history?
History is like basically what happened in our past. But I think we recreate our past every day without realizing it.
But that's what a curse coming at.
Yeah.
If you're doing generational wealth or you're doing generational, you know what I mean, entrepreneurship, you're building an empire, that's a different ball game.
Right.
But when it's staying in a negative space, it's a curse.
That's where the curse comes from.
Because you're cursing somebody that didn't ask for that.
Right.
They didn't ask for that.
Just from the teachings and how you move and stuff like
it's
that.
You pass down bad traits.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're talking from like a negative, it's probably not even intentional. I think when you're intentional, you're passing down something positive. When it's not even intentional, you don't even realize what you're doing.
I watched The Shy one time, right? And they used to have these circles amongst each other. And I watched the young boy tell his dad, man, I can't be what I can't. He told him, well, you doing this with your wife, you doing this with your dad. You got to get it together. He told his dad wasn't he? He told him, he looked over his dad and said, how can I ever be what I can't see? I never seen it. How can I be it? So they can't. In retrospect, and you put that and you put it in reverse. You got to realize what you put in front of that kid is what they growing. Kids are sponges.
Right.
They see you smoking weed. They see you sit on the couch playing PlayStation all day. They see you running dudes in and out the house as a woman.
That's the normal.
What you think gonna happen to your daughter? Because she believe ain't nothing wrong with that.
That's
they
the
see you
ceiling.
putting hands on your wife.
That's the ceiling. If they can't see over the ceiling, that's all they see.
That's all they see.
That's all. That's reality to them.
And now it's like, I believe this to be right. Because what happens is, a lot in Philadelphia, like, we have two perspectives. You have a pro-social way of life is how you're supposed to be living. Then you have this anti-social perspective. Like, the biggest argument I ever heard was, it's a dude that owned a business, a rat, if you call the cops, if you rob him, how else he gonna get his insurance money?
He's a law-abiding citizen.
But how else is he gonna get his insurance money?
Yeah.
They gonna say, where's your police report? So I just supposed to take the L that I worked all my life for, never did a day in the streets. And I just so you don't call me a rat?
No, he's a law-abiding citizen.
Now, if
He's
this
not
dude
in
on
the
the
streets.
corner throwing rocks at the penitentiary and you throw a bullet at his leg, like, y'all got to deal with that on the street. I don't promote it, but that's street business.
Yeah.
He ain't robbed you because you had milkshakes. He robbed you because you had the bag that he wanted. It's cops and robbers, and it's also robbers and hustlers. At the end of the day, you got people that's on this line. You got, this is how he eat. And this is how he eat. It's the wolves. You know what I mean? The wolves, like, man, I eat off of dudes that's eating. Then you got another dude that say, I eat off the... Now, he's also a vulture, too, because he eating off the people that suffer from addiction.
Right.
So it's all a dog-eat-dog war, crabs in a barrel. He's being a wolf to the people that's suffering from addiction. He's being a wolf because he's and a lot of these dudes is robbing people, like, they done went through some stuff. It was a judge, right? The judge, anybody that ever came in front of him with a drug case, roofed him because her daughter died of an overdose.
Yeah. I heard a couple judges like that.
A couple judges like that because that's how it affected them. Man. So you got dudes that rob drug dealers is because of certain things too. Some Robin Hood dudes, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you got some dudes that just that's just what they do. They not a hustler. They take money. So guess who money they gonna take?
The hustlers.
You know what I mean? And I
You didn't deserve it anyway. You didn't work for it anyway.
If you make it a moral dilemma and you're like, well, listen, who would you prefer me to rob?
Yeah.
The people
The
that
dude
are already in
that
the
worked
streets.
all his life to build that business up, or the dude that on the corner that worked 20 minutes to get that same bag. You see what I'm saying? So that's where you at with it, man. Like, so you leave it up to me, man. You know, I say stay out the streets. I said success out the streets. You know what I mean? And I said, listen, the ultimate goal in reality is, you know what I mean, get out, stay out, find your niche.
Right.
This what I do might not be for you. You know what I mean? I'm not a podcast guy, but I can, as you see, I can run my mouth. You know what I mean? I like to tell the story that's beneficial to someone else.
Yeah.
Hopefully people
And
hear what I gotta
motivate
say,
people to-
and
you
they be
feel
like,
me?
we started off like it was a war story,
Yeah.
but we ended off, you know what I mean?
Giving
you know what I
back.
mean? You don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The cover, you know what I mean, had all the guns and the drugs, but at the end, you know what I mean, I'm proud to say that, you know what I mean, I've been out the streets for going on 10 years. I'm off parole. First time, and you see how fast I've been
Congrats,
to jail
man.
before. So just for me to make it off parole,
Yeah.
I've been on supervision since I was like 15.
That was
30 years?
that was hitting the lottery right there.
That was hitting the lottery. Well, I ain't know, but now when I get this pardon, it's gonna be like, it's up.
Yeah, facts.
You know what I mean? Like,
Facts.
listen, a gun is legal.
Yeah.
Karen, can you imagine? I'm like, that when the last time I put a gun on my hip? I never put a gun on my hip.
You ain't
that was
even gonna
legal.
feel comfortable.
I ain't gonna feel comfortable in Philadelphia. You damn
Yeah.
right. You feel comfortable in Philadelphia. Like, listen, I ain't trying to hurt nobody, but nobody trying to hurt me.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, but it's just to be able to go in a courtroom. Like I had an event the other day celebrating my brother that got off for 10 years. Or he was off parole. Something could be 10 years of parole, and we had judges and CEOs and all. We had CEOs in there celebrating him, and nobody was getting locked in. We had judges in there, nobody was getting locked up. We had people dressed up, and nobody was laying in the casket. Those are wins, man. You know what I mean? So
Facts.
this is where I'm at with it. Like when I'm able to do stuff like that, man, I'm able to like sit in the same room where the other day at NOMO, the lieutenant governor came by, the director of public safety, the council president. They tore in the space. Like, when I had official people coming to Susan, they were looking for me.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Now they looking for me for a different reason. You
That's
see
a
what I'm
beautiful
saying?
thing.
Yeah.
It's a great
We hold
story.
the cards, man. Greater for the greatness, man.
So, before we wrap it up, Rick, what's some advice you'll give to any youngins that's out there watching that keep going over and over in a cycle of getting locked up and getting, you know what I'm saying, doing jail time? What's some good advice you can give them to basically help their light bulb go off like yours did?
Take out some time for yourself.
Yeah.
Take out some time for yourself, man. Really look at your life. Write down your wins and your losses. I'm almost 95% sure you lost more than you won. Try to balance it out. Don't be afraid to be alone. Look in that mirror. Have that conversation with yourself. Actually, go back. What I used to tell somebody is, go back to when you were in first grade and you raised your hand. They said, what do you want to be when you grow up? That might answer your question.
Yeah.
But somehow during that moral dilemma that we talked about, that moral development that we talked about back in the beginning, during that conventional, pre-conventional, so you might have got caught up in that conventional stage and forgot who you really are.
Right.
Because it might have been your situation was situational. Like everybody don't have my situation. Some people survival of the fittest. You know what I mean? Know that there's other options out there, and there's other routes you can take. It's all about how you invest in you and where you see your life to be. But you got to really ask yourself that question.
Yeah.
And be willing to put the work in. Everything is not about going viral and a quick Instagram hit. It don't work like that. It don't work like that. So you really got to ask yourself, is this really what you want to do in life? Is this really where you want to go? Do you want to spend the rest of your life in a bathroom?
Right. Right.
You know what I
right.
mean? Because that's what happens. You spend your life in that bathroom. Do you really want to spend your life in the bathroom?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or do you want to be out here and be a productive citizen and do something with your life? You know what I mean? So give yourself a chance, man. You know what I mean? It is people out here that's willing to help. You know what I mean? But you got to give yourself a chance. And if I had to give any advice, it would be make sure you give yourself a chance, man. You know what I mean? You better than what you think you are. You know what I mean? Your worst situation can come up with the best results eventually.
Okay.
Where can
That's
people
great
reach you
advice.
at too?
Yeah.
On Instagram, but personally, I'm on the @MR.NOMO. And
Mr. Nomo.
@MR.NOMO on our Instagram. We got several NOMO pages, NOMO_foundation, NOMO Restorative Justice, Time Reed Village for our housing program, NOMO event spaces.
Website?
we www.nomofoundation.org on our website. You know what I mean? All our locations throughout the city of Philadelphia, man. We at 1212 South Broad. We at 925 North Broad Street and 4077 Lancaster Avenue, man. Doors is always open. You know what I mean? If you want the help is there. The water's there, you got to drink it.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate you, bro.
Right.
Thanks for coming
Appreciate
on.
y'all.
Appreciate
Thank
you
y'all for
for
having
coming through, man.
All right,
Streets to success.
Appreciate
Right.
y'all. Yeah, streets to success. We out here.